Calling the zoning hearing board for Township of Lower Makefield to order for May 7th, 2024. There are 4 members of the board here. So an approval for variance requires a majority, which would be 3. So you're aware of that. And if you want to continue to a later date. First up is Appeal Z-24-2.
We have a request from the applicant to continue this to May 21st. They believe that they will actually have time to get everything done, approved, reviewed, meet with the township, discuss with the township by then. So motion is in order to continue Z-24 to May 21st.
I'll make a motion to continue Appeal Z-24 to May 21st, 2024.
And I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Continued to Appeal Z-24-2, continued to May 21st. Next up is Appeal Z-23-24. Are you in the room or are you online?
Whalen.
Yes. Okay, so come up and sit at the table by the mic, make sure it's on and get sworn in. And Adam here will read in the exhibits.
We have the application as A1, the site plans as A2, the impervious surface breakdown calculations, as well as the stormwater management small project volume control sheets will be collectively marked as A3, B1 proof of publication, B2 proof of posting, and B3 notice to the neighbors.
Would you each state and spell your full name?
Miguel Angel Camacho Jr. Miguel Angel Camacho Jr. Last name or Miguel, M-I-G-U-E-L, Angel, A-N-G-E-L, Camacho, C-A-M-A-C-H-O, Jr.
Matthew Joseph Whalen, M-A-T-T-H-E-W, Joseph, J-O-S-E-P-H, Whalen, W-H-A-L-E-N.
Do you both solemnly swear or affirm the testimony about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Okay, because there are people online, please try to make sure you speak to the mics when you have them. You both have one there, so. Okay, go ahead and explain to the board what it is you're looking to do.
So we're looking to put in a concrete patio on the rear of the property. We'll have 2 rear steps going down, there's 2 exits on the back side of the house. Reason for it is there was a wood deck that had some carpentry issues. So that was treated. You know, like about 6 months later, we had a family friend fall through the deck. Figured at that point, enough's enough, you know, to do something about it. So I guess when you originally purchased the property, you know, we knew about it, but they just kind of patched things in. So with the patio, we're going to be putting in pervious area. So seating what you guys normally allow. So we're going to have to put in a retention basin. You know, whether that be a trench or just, you know, an area maybe about 200 square feet, you know, square instead of like a rectangular trench on the outside of the patio. And then at the top of the driveway, we're going to extend that about 200 square feet.
Okay, questions from the board? And Dan, I think it might help if we had an aerial view pulled up. The plan view and maybe an aerial view. It's 800 square feet.
Oh, yeah, total.
Yeah, it's pretty good size. And I don't know what the impervious surface is and what this is going to do to it.
So right now they're at 18.7. They're hoping to go to 25.9 and then mitigate back to 18. Yeah, I have questions, comments. So in terms of the plan surveys, is this all we have? So bad news is, yeah, I can't even see what you guys are trying to do with this. I don't know how I'm going to be able to affirm a decision in your favor with this, if that makes sense. I can't tell. So it's not terrible news. I'm letting you know that I will not be affirming this. So you probably want to ask for a continuance
Mhm.
and get a better plan drawn up. And another flaw is with your trench, right in our stormwater management directions, the width of the trench needs to be greater than 2 times its depth. And you guys proposed a 2-foot deep trench by 3-foot wide. So it would most likely need to be at least 2 feet by 4 feet, unless I'm misunderstanding that. Am I misunderstanding that, Dan?
No, but yeah, that could be a quick tweak when.
Yeah, that's
when they get the
something that
permit.
you could tweak inside engineering. We don't need you to necessarily, I would revise this when you come back. If you decide to come back in front of us, I would just revise that and come back in front of us. But I'm just telling you where I stand, guys. I just can't really tell what you're trying to do here. Otherwise, assuming there's not a ton of opposition from the public, I wouldn't have a problem getting behind it if I could see what I'm looking at. Anyway, I think I wouldn't have a problem.
I think what I could do is try to blow up those plans. I did have them on a 3-foot blueprint, but the image itself, I need that image blown up. The actual lot plan, not the full.
I would probably ask Dan or Jimmy for best advice on what you guys should do to present to the board. But and again, I'm not trying to be harsh, but I think I just can't tell what's going on here. That's just me, fellas.
All right, I have a question. Why not go back in with the wood deck? Because a wood deck doesn't classify as impervious, and you wouldn't have to do anything before us here other than the permit for construction.
Honestly, when I bought the house, that I had a ton of termite damage to this deck, and with dealing with these carpenter bees and just dealing with all the insects, and it just needed to get it out. And I decided that I wanted to see if I could do a patio. And that's when we went through this process, and I was seeing if this was possible. Okay. And that's why I ended up going. I just thought a concrete patio was more of an improvement than going back to the deck. And I didn't know going into it, I didn't know about mitigating impervious surface area. And even if we were to meet those requirements, is there anything wrong with that? Like, if we meet the requirements that the township expects of us, is that okay? So.
Well, to answer your question, sometimes it is like a negotiation where we might say, do you really need an 818 square foot concrete patio?
Okay.
Maybe 600 square feet would be more reasonable, something like that.
Okay.
That's kind of how it goes a lot of times, especially this neighborhood
Okay.
does have some flooding issues. So neighbors over there are sensitive to stormwater management. Really my biggest problem with the plan is I have no idea what you guys are talking about with the driveway and an extra 400 square feet. I mean, I
Okay.
can get a sense of what you're trying to do with the patio for what you presented, a sense of it, but no sense of what you're referencing with your driveway. So, and that's another thing we're probably going to want to talk to you about. Why do you need an extra 400 square feet of driveway? I'm not telling you you're not going to get it, but
Yeah.
it's conversation that you should expect to have with whoever's sitting up here.
Sure.
If you decide to come back. I mean,
Yeah.
by the way,
honestly, like, I was just trying to, for my, the street is very busy. It's a busy street, and there are cars flying. I have children, they're little ones, and they're down there on the sidewalk all the time. And people drive, and no offense to those people, people drive very fast down that road. So, I'm not saying this is the answer or this is the best answer to why, but having like a more area for my children to be in rather than down by the sidewalk was also another, just like a motivator for me.
Another item that would help with this plan here is to have have the stormwater located relative to what the grading pattern is.
Yeah.
Because if it's upstream, it's not helping anybody downstream. So it needs to be downstream, some graphic depiction about where this is relative to the flow of water. Because we don't know how that's gonna work here.
The
Okay.
idea was
Mhm.
put a French drain on the outside of the patio before the whole impervious,
Mhm.
thing came about. Put a French drain on the outside of the patio and take that drain, put it into a catch basin, with riprap and 3/4 clean stone, which would have to be fed by gravity, and it's not going to work up.
Yeah.
That, right? But
Well, that's a good idea that you're actually on that there. Another one, if the grading didn't work out on the property, another one is to connect to your roof leaders to take the runoff from the roof. It accomplishes the same goal. Mike, do you have any questions, comments?
I'm in the same boat. Like I'm just confused as to exactly what's going on, and it's hard to be comfortable with making changes or approving anything that you just not quite understanding exactly what wants to go on. So, yeah, I would suggest a continuance.
So I think you've heard where the board is at here. We can certainly continue down this path and possibly take a vote on it, but you might be better off to request a continuance. What would you like to do?
I mean, I would like to request a continuance and we'll improve, evidence of what is going to be done and, so you guys can be more confident that we're within the parameters of what's expected.
Yeah, I mean, you may just need to hire and engage a civil engineer to just draw a site plan with the topography on it and then show where the trench is going to be along with what's existing now and what's proposed.
You can do that.
Literally could be like a 2-page plan.
Cool. Okay.
The next question is, if you do want a continuance, what would you want to continue to? We meet on the second and fourth Tuesdays of the first and third Tuesdays. I'm sorry, I'm getting confused with the other group, which I'm also on with Dan.
Yeah, I mean, at least a month from now. So then I can I'll contact the civil engineer and
The 4th or the 18th.
So June 4th or 18th, June 4th, June
uh,
18th.
June 4th is fine. That's fair, please. Thank you.
If you get moving on it this week, this isn't overly complex.
Yeah.
All right. You want to ask about public comment?
We might as well, as we're here, since we're here, is there any public comment in the room? And I'm assuming that there's no public comment online, given the queue I was told to look for, so. So,
How about a motion? I'll make a motion to continue appeal Z 2034 to June 4th.
I'll second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Your motion, appeal Z23-34 is continued to June 4th. And now, as a sidebar to the other members of the board here, we have a visual cue for public comment online. It's that light over the window back there that is currently off.
Thank you.
thank you.
All right.
Good luck.
Yep. Next up is Appeal Z24-9. Adam, if you can read in the exhibits.
All right, we have the application, the one sheet site plan as A2, the shed model photo as A3, B1 proof of publication, B2 proof of posting, and B3 notice to the neighbors.
Could you state and spell your full name, please?
Alexander Foreman. ALEXANDER FORMAN.
You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Okay, go ahead and explain what it is you'd like to do.
So I'm looking to put in a 10 by 12 shed in the back quarter of our backyard. We're asking for relief for a proposed setback of 5 feet, where it should be 10. Setback being on the rear line, rear property line, as well as on the side.
Okay. Question for Dan. Are there any impervious concerns here with this?
No, it's under the max allowable impervious.
Next question. Did you talk to your neighbors at all about this?
Yeah, they were all okay with us. They had no issues with us putting a shed in and discussing with the setback. They had no issues as well.
Okay, any other questions from the board?
I have some. Do you want to go?
I'm just wondering why it can't be the 10 feet. I mean, I don't,
So my yard is an L, so that right is basically at that right angle. So it basically makes a lot of the yard at least unusable, separating it almost into two spaces. Whereas it would be 15 feet to where I have shrubs and bushes kind of on a patio. Now it creates a little 21 feet, little kids playing around, kind of makes the yard more usable. Less space, I also losing in the back and on the side. Yeah, just kind of makes the yard a little bit more usable, more usefulness rather.
Assuming your two contiguous neighbors don't show up in public comment and are opposed to this, I don't have a problem with it, save the fact that I know you're trying to come 5 feet off the property line. What are you going to be off the fence line?
So the fence line, I want to say it's about 1.5 feet to a foot. When we did the permit for the fence back in 21, when we put the house in. So I believe whatever it is, a foot or so on that's off the property line.
Because generally we want to make sure we usually want the minimus of 3 feet from a fence so that the property can be, that strip of ground can be cared for and maintained.
Yeah, it'll be more than 3 feet off the fence line.
And if,
Because it's not 2 feet to the fence line.
and do we only have the one fence on the side property line, or is there also a rear fence?
There's a rear fence as well.
Is that yours or your neighbor's?
It's ours, correct?
And same deal? So
Same deal,
About 1.25 feet to 1.5 feet off the property line?
correct.
Okay.
Go ahead, Dan.
Yeah, no, I'm just, I follow the rules.
It's the 1.5 feet off. Right.
So if we would decide to approve this tonight, you'd be okay if part of our approval would be that the engineer verifies that the shed will be no closer to 36 inches to the existing fences?
Yeah, that's reasonable.
Okay.
Dan, can I ask you a question? A few years back, few houses down, probably, 21, probably 25 Upton-ish. I'm not certain about that address. There were some current concerns with some runoff from their backyard to the neighbors behind them that are on Plymouth. I think that was a steeper slope than this gentleman's backyard. I just want to confirm that it's relatively flat here, I think. I just want to confirm that that's the case.
To be honest, I'm not sure much about the topography for this area. I apologize. I don't know.
This is my neighborhood, so I go around.
Yeah,
But I just want to make sure. And then that's the case because in that situation, it wasn't a zoning hearing board issue, but there were neighbor issues. I don't see that here based on what I know of the area, but that was just a few doors down. And then the other thing, your neighbor, I think it's 19, has a shed also at an angle in the backyard.
Yeah, both of our neighbors, catty corner and then directly next to us have a shed. You might be able to see it in the one picture. You might be able to see it on the map there. Shed in the same corner and then behind them directly as well. Hard to see due to the trees and so on, but they have a shed there as well.
Approximate to those, 19 is one on the corner with the shed at an angle, right?
Yep, correct.
Is the shed going to be in that similar corner on your property? adjacent
Correct.
to- Okay.
We won't angle it. It'll just be square to it.
Any idea how far off the fence of the property line theirs is?
I
It looks
don't
pretty-
know, and frankly, not my problem.
I'm just
It makes no difference to me, so.
I'm just curious. So.
It looks tight to the back line. It looks like it might be space to the sideline. Mike, any comment? Questions? All right, there is no public comment here or online, so.
Mike, you're muted.
It looks like everybody in the neighborhood basically has a shed tight to one of their corners. I'm not saying that that's right, but I'm just, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. That guy
Yeah,
looks like
across the
that.
street, there's a couple too, yes.
Yeah, there's a couple real tight ones. So I mean, in this one, I mean, it kind of makes sense with the catty corner and the one right next door. I mean, if you're gonna put them all together.
I guess we'll entertain a motion. There is no public comment. There's no public comment online.
I move we approve, and I have to look up the number because I don't have it in front of me. I do. Approve Z-24-9 with the condition that our township engineer assures that the shed is no closer than 36 inches from the fence.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
It's good.
Appeal Z-24-9, other business.
I have a question, and it came to me from residents. I understand that we used to notify half of the neighborhood, which was overkill, to say the least. But I think that we have to be, in some of these cases, a little bit looser than we are. That it's not just the house behind, but it could be the 2 adjacent houses behind as well as the side. And in some cases, even the people immediately across the
Yes,
street.
correct, because I agree with you. The last meeting was immediately across the street, wasn't notified.
No. And
So we, just not to cut you off, but we had this discussion at a recent 2 meetings ago, maybe 3 meetings ago, at the
Yeah.
Board of Supervisors meeting, where I brought that exact thing up, and the board directed staff to, obviously, the basic requirements from the NPC, but we directed staff to increase to look into an increased radius.
thank you.
So we haven't said it yet, but it will be increasing.
Thank you, because I just feel like it'll avoid us having issues with unhappy people.
Yeah, and just for, not that we probably won't do the same thing we have in the Saldo, but the Saldo is 1,000 foot,
Oh, I know.
where we're not looking to do 1,000 feet here, because that
No.
would be,
We had it at 300.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Previous
mean,
one. So the 1,000 would
be
be
insane.
over 3 times as much.
That would be insane.
Actually,
Then-
it's squared because you're doing it
Right.
in his area.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
and-
it would, be-
yeah.
that would be, that would be definite overkill.
Different situation, but just for
Right.
comparison purposes.
I
for
understand.
a related ordinance.
But like we did just have one where the neighbors across the street weren't notified.
No.
And they theoretically could have had an issue with the line of sight.
Oh,
Right.
absolutely. No, the whole board agrees. We just have to or we don't necessarily have to update the ordinance, but we do update the policy. We may do
Thank
both
you.
though. So stay tuned.
Okay. What's on the agenda for the next meeting?
3, I believe. There's 1 continuance and 2 ones that were scheduled for that date originally.
Astoria that we just continued, and then 2 new ones.
Correct.
I hate to ask this, but any update on the wireless tower?
I haven't heard a word. I have not heard a word, nor, to be honest with you, I don't ask.
Okay.
Yeah,
Mm.
still,
don't think it's
still
ethical.
indefinitely postponed.
Okay, and definitely postponed. All right. I guess ready for a motion to adjourn then.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Zoning hearing board for May 7th is complete.